Okay, everybody ready? Okay, thanks for sticking around and enjoying the delicious, whatever they are, bakery products. Handing over to the next team, I'll let them introduce themselves. So let's give them a round of applause.
Yeah, thanks guys. As Chris said, I hope you enjoyed the break and the free food, because free food makes everyone happy, right? So as you're about to find out, coding can be a risky Quizness. I'm Ash. I've just come from a PhD. After 7 years of chemistry, I've gone into tech, which seems like a bit of a segue. But I didn't want to be mixing chemicals for the rest of my life, but I did like problem solving. So I looked for other careers that had that. And tech was one of those. And then started the boot camp. And now I get to test ideas, build stuff, and solve problems in a new and exciting field.
Hi, I'm Nazia. I was a probation court officer for 8 years. After 8 years, I no longer had job satisfaction, but I thought, what did I like about my job? I liked the fact that I was solving problems, I was logical thinking, I was working with people, I was managing, I was organizing. So then I went to look about something that combined all this together, and that's when I came across School of Code that promised to deliver, and I have delivered.
And hi, I'm Nick. I was in management retail for about 5 years. Wasn't motivated, wasn't pushed at all, and I wanted to find something that really would. And starting the boot camp has definitely motivated me and pushed me. From day one, being uncomfortable, not knowing what I'm really doing, and Chris saying, well, if you're comfortable, you're not learning. So now I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. So, why are you here today? Well, you want to see what we've built, of course. But before we get there, I want to ask a couple of questions. Who here likes playing quizzes? Excellent, quite a few of you. And who here likes playing with friends? Excellent. Just like you, over 1 million users use an up-and-coming app called Trivia HQ. Now, if you don't know that, give me a second to tell you what it is. This is basically an app that sends out 10 questions each day, and people log on, try and answer them, and then they get put into a prize fund. So we knew there was a need for this kind of app. So without further ado, let's look at the app.
Okay, so you know that this is a quiz game, but we wanted this to be very timely. So at the same time, everyone's heard of SpaceX, Elon Musk, want to go into Mars. So we decided to incorporate that into our game. So it's a game about space. We wanted an 80s feel to it, because it's a game after all. So we've gone for a very brutalist style in our game. Right, the idea of the game is that meteorites are coming to hit Earth, so we no longer have a planet to live on. We're losing our home. So we're going to go out to the solar system, explore new planets, and make new planet our home.
Cool. So we've teased you enough. Let's just play the game. So as you can see, Nick is setting up the game behind me. We've got a mobile responsive website and a laptop team. Everybody on this side of the audience, we are going to need you to do some work. You're the laptop team. You're working with me. Front row, you're the brain trust. If they don't know it, shout out the answers, get involved. It should be a hoot.
And this side of the team, shout out 1, 2, 3, 4 for the right answer, and I will tell Nick.
So as you can see, we've joined the same lobby. One of the key features of our app is there's no login page. Being able to share a game really easily was important to us. So all you have to do is share the 4-digit code that is generated when you create a new game. So we wanted everybody is in the same room. That's great, right? But we wanted to include people even if they couldn't be in the same room as you. So we've implemented a chat feature as well. So you can send messages to your friend like, haha, I'm going to win, you suck. And your friends can reply with, yeah, you wish. And as you may have noticed, we got a notification telling us we had a new message so we could respond to our friends. Cool. So once everybody has readied up, I see someone else has joined the game with us.
Can you ready up, please, whoever you are?
Are you ready?
Thank you.
Well, this should be fun. Cool. So we've got us, those guys, and whoever is the third player. Let's do this. So guys,
1, 2, 3, 4, come on guys. The clock's ticking.
Rube.
All right, so we've got one, Nick, please. Next question.
I should say, the timer runs out, so we'll pick a random answer, but keep going. The Mohawk building. Oh, not time, not
What's
time.
that, guys? Come on. 2. We want 2,
Come on,
Nick.
guys.
1, 2.
Ooh.
The last one on our side. We're not doing very well here.
All right. 1, 2, 3, before. Come on. We don't want the two.
It's the top one, Nick, apparently.
Goldfish, we want 3.
We're not doing well here.
Come on. We want to win this, guys. Come on. Any answers?
Repulsive. We're going with repulsive.
What?
Repulsive. The second one.
You're wrong.
Nick picked the right one for you.
Wow, that was hectic.
It was indeed. Right. Let's see the scores. Let's see how we're doing. And let's see how that mystery third player is going on. Oh.
The mystery player is winning.
We'll have to find out who this is afterwards. Cool. Well, that was good.
You know what? That's a bit hectic. How about we just do one team at a time, and the mystery player, you can carry on.
Cool. All right. We'll go first. Cool. Let's pick somebody else. Hamza. Pick a category. Any category. We're going to go with sport.
Unfortunately, Hamza, you can't take that. The mystery guy's got it. That's why
Mystery
it's red.
guy's got sport.
Sorry, one person per planet.
Science fiction. Science fiction is not there. Science and nature. All right. Ready? Oh, waiting for the internet. All right, let's go, guys. Come on, shout the answers out at me. Carbon. What we got? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. I can't play. I know the answers. Come on, guys. We're going with love.
No, I heard love.
Oh, we need some guys at the back. Give me an answer. True or false? True. Good job. All right. Someone else shut this up so I can't pronounce these. The bottom one. Unlucky. Unlucky.
All right, so now they're
So
finished.
now we're just waiting for that team.
Cool. So we can pick any planet we like, but as you can see, they did science and nature. The points have gone from 5 to 3, so that means there's 3 points available on that planet. We can either play that planet or we can choose a new one. So guys, what planet would you like to play? Animals? Come on then, let's do animals. Toad? Yes. What? A, B, C. All right, we want a second one. True or false? I'm hearing true. True or false? Go on. Okay.
So, let's have a look at the scores. Ooh.
Well done, Marbles. We're in the lead. Come on, round of applause for us. So, about this time, you would have had your final scoreboard, but unfortunately, because of the mystery player not playing around, you didn't get to see our final scoreboard. Normally, in our game, it's a 5-round game, but for the demo, we only decided to do 2 rounds. And the idea is that after the second round, you'll be able to choose someone else's planet and take part. So then, because we're social beings, we want to be sharing planets together. That was the idea. Okay. Now that you've seen our game, let's talk about how we went about creating this game of ours. Initially, we did a brainstorming for the idea. Once we refined the idea and we're happy with what we had, we then moved on to how to creating this. So we decided what our minimum time requirement would be, what the stake in the ground was going to be, and how we'd go about doing it. We also decided what roles we were each going to play and how we're going to deal with disagreement. Because the 3 of us in the team, if 2 of us disagreed, then the 3rd person would have the deciding vote. We then went on to doing our research. Okay, from our primary research, we sent out questionnaires and we found that 3 out of 4 people actually liked playing online quizzes, and a lot of the people liked the idea of having a theme running out throughout the game. And then from our secondary research, we found that Kahoot, which we all heard of, by March 2017, they had 40 million active users, and Jackbox TV from 2014 released 4 games, and those 4 games have scored 9 out of 10 on Steam. So we knew that there's a massive market for quiz games online, so there's plenty of space for our game. Right. Since it's a game, user experience is at the center of this whole thing. It's all about the users. So now that we had the plan, we did the research, we now went about creating this.
From this, we had wireframes. We did some whiteboard sketches to begin with, got the instant feedback from our cohort, see if that worked. From there, went to balsamic, and then tried to make it how we would actually structure the app more so from the feedback we got. I mean, that wasn't where we started. Even halfway through, I tested it personally with my mum, because she doesn't play games at all. So I really wanted to see if she could just instinctively know what to do. She couldn't, which is absolutely fine, because then we could actually adapt it to then make it more user-friendly in the long run. We used a Kanban to make sure that we could track the issues. We then had story points to set aside how much time for each one. Now, sometimes we were over, sometimes we were under. And it doesn't really matter. If we were over, that might have been because we were having to learn something, we might have been struggling, and it was a good way to us to pull together as a team saying, that one's taking a bit more time. Do you need help? Do you need us to show you something? And it really did help us build together as a team, to be honest.
Cool. So now you've heard our plan. I'm going to quickly talk you through the tech. Like the other teams, we've also used React and Redux. The way that we extended this is we use Redux Saga, which is a piece of middleware that allows us to use asynchronous functions inside the predictable and immutable state that Redux gives us. We've also built this app with a microservice architecture in mind, so our front end and back end can be swapped out for another application if we wanted to, and also be hosted wherever we want to. And as you can see by the mystery player, we're hosting this at the moment on AWS. And the two halves of our application are linked by Socket.io.
Yep, and the reason why we use Socket.io is because we didn't want constant calls going back and forth, slowing down the app, making it not user-friendly at all. With Socket.io, it gives a persistent data stream, so it's quick, real-time update data going backwards and forwards. So that's why we use that. We also wanted to use it because then we could have rooms. So you wouldn't just emit to everyone, so you could have two separate instances of the same game running at the same time, and they'll be completely separate.
Okay. Since we were using the agile approach, retrospect is very important. But the reason why we went for the agile approach was initially, we did 3 regular meetups, and we documented our plans, problems, and progress. We did our user stories, our personas, our wireframes, as we've already mentioned, and then we carried on detailing. Right, with the retrospective, we found that initially, because we were constantly refining the idea, we were constantly getting user feedback and doing user testing, we found that our sprints were lasting longer than we expected. So we could no longer do a retrospective at the end of each sprint. So we decided to do it at the end of each week to get our summary. And we did pair programming, 3-year programming when possible. And over the Christmas period, we decided to do remote working using Google Hangouts and Slack.
Cool. So we wanted to build a visually stimulating game and also something that was fun to play. But we wanted to make sure it was robust, because at the end of the day, we're handing out to users, and we didn't want it to break and spoil the fun. So the first thing we did was we implemented the Jest testing library. This allowed us to write really simple unit tests on our main functions. And for those who know, this is in Redux, this is the reducer. And so we wanted to make sure that we could handle all of our own inputs without the app crashing, but also if something got handed in that the reducer wasn't expecting, it could deal with that, and the game would continue to play without breaking. We also wanted to make sure that all of our components were modular and didn't interact with each other unless we wanted them to. To help to do this, we used React Storybook. This allowed us to develop our components in isolation, meaning that any styling that went on was specific to just that component, but also that any props that we handed in wouldn't bleed through into any other components. Another useful feature is that we can host a static website and show what all our components would look like outside of our app. So if anybody else wanted to use them, we could do. So for example, I could show you the final scoreboard. Oh, ta-da!
For the future, we wanted to be able to have other people take actually over your planet. So if you went to a category and you got 3 points, but your competitions thought, well, I can do better in that category than you, they can go there and say they got 4 points or 5 points, they'll take actually all your points away from you. So that would have just been a bit more competitiveness to the actual app themselves.
And another feature we wanted to integrate was social media. This would allow you, if you were playing remotely, you could tweet your room code to your friends and then they could join you. Or if you wanted to live tweet your scores just to show how well you're doing, you could do that without having to leave the app, which would engage the players more. Another thing that we were in the middle of implementing but didn't actually include in this version of the game because we weren't able to fully road test it was if you are playing remotely, you might be on a phone or a train, you might lose connection. And if you disconnect, you would lose your progress, and that would spoil the fun, right? So we wanted to be able to have a reconnect as soon as you came back to the internet, and you would speed back up to exactly where you left, and then you could carry on playing. Like I said, we got most of the way there, but we didn't get a chance to fully test it, and we didn't want to break anything. We've been Risky Quizness. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.